Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Like the current position of the MPP.
Which is what?
You know, even in court, I understand if you can't fight at least on the law, you can go to the other side, which is pleading for some emotions of the judge.
Right.
And I think that's what is happening lately. They don't want to talk about figures any longer. You won't hear them debate about what's the rate of the CD. You won't hear them debate about inflation. You won't hear them debate about infrastructure progress. But they will go to the angle that, oh, how sustainable is this? We've seen this before. When we came to office 1 year in government, we have also seen this and all that. But records are clear. MPP 1 year in office did not make a recovery of the CD. When we were leaving office, it was 3.6. By the time their 1 year ended, it was 4.36 or so. So they didn't make a recovery. Inflation, when we were leaving office, was around 18%. By the time they turned the corner after 1 year, it didn't come anywhere close to what we were seeing today. So indeed, let's appreciate the progress. But I can tell you what is being done to sustain all of these economic gains and all that. And I want to applaud particularly the Bank of Ghana for the discipline, the discipline we have seen, over the period. In the past, you could walk into the bank, and I do it myself, walk into the bank, and then you're asking for dollars. They are converting money from your CDs account to your dollar account, and I'm making payment right here in Ghana because the deal we're in requires that payment is made in dollars. And so that was a pressure on the CD, and we all saw it. But today, at least, thanks to the Bank of Ghana, there's some regulatory and monetary framework that allows banks not to do some of those things. And you see sanctions in the past already of some of the banks that were illegally or operating outside of the space of the Bank of Ghana directive on forex and its transactions and all that. And so there's some discipline. He wants to know another thing we're doing. Another thing we're doing very well is our expenditure patterns. We are not going to waste some 98 billion in some open pits. That won't happen. We won't waste money on frivolous projects like Japa, PDS and all that. We're doing some of those things well, such that it doesn't become a drain on the public purse. Number two, he talks about the Bank of Ghana's intervention in the market. Bank of Ghana's intervention in the market primarily has to do with those within the BDC environment, OMCs, BDCs, pharmaceuticals, and companies operating within the free zones enclave. They are the ones who are the big spenders of forex, if you care to know. And those in the free zones environment, for instance, they don't take the dollar because they want to just take it abroad and go and sleep. They go in to buy raw materials, bring it to this country, and they have large employee base. They have large production bases. Go to the free zones. We, in our tenure, established the Dawa Industrial Park. For 8 years of this, MPP government, when they were in government, they did nothing about that place. It's virtually rotting away. In fact, to complement that Dawa project was the Sanglomi housing. Even that was also a mess at the end of the day. So they did not take the steps we are taking today. Otherwise, maybe the progress would have been more. Yes, we do agree that when you come into government, some excesses of the previous government, including their goodwill, you may enjoy that. But to what extent? And if the MPP was proud about what they left behind, I don't think they would have seen that humiliating defeat they saw in the last election, which has never happened before in our landscape, at least in the Fourth Republic. And so they should be humble enough to understand that, look, progress has been made. How we will sustain this progress is what I can tell him. So number two, we're investing in food security in order that we don't rely so much on importation of rice, sugar, and all the likes. If you observe in the last budget, we made preparations for sugarcane growers to go into full-time business. We wasted 2 factories, a Yesu starch factory and our Commander Sugar factory under the last 8 years of the MPP. And that was a major intervention to relax the pressure on our forex. We didn't take advantage of that. We were busy talking about one district, one factory. And I can mention the factories. People have their own factories, then you see overnight they put one district, one factory on it, and it's gone. We have seen a lot of that across the country, which were not sustainable. They tell us that it was a public-private partnership and all that. But where are they today? What was the sustainability of some of these projects? We didn't see that. We are also making conscious interventions in the market when it comes to agriculture in particular, our cash crops, the cocoa. We have discovered that majority of our cocoa is shipped across the border in Cote d'Ivoire. and they take it abroad. We should not forget, gold for oil came as a rescue because they had plunged the economy into crisis. The gold for oil that is being run today is not in the same structure as what they had in the past. Theirs was mainly accumulate revenue or a reserve, use it to buy, crude or crude, finished products of petroleum and all that, and then import in this country. They identified petroleum as one of the drains on our forex. That is not all that we're doing today. When the Bank of Ghana goes to the market to auction dollars, it is not because they want to auction it to friends or people who want to repatriate their profits abroad. It is to the banks, and the banks now have a more rigid regulatory framework on how some of these dollar purchases are done, and therefore it is absolutely being controlled. Number two, people create the impression as though when the Bank of Ghana goes to the market to buy, to auction dollars, it is free. It's not free. It's as simple as this. I have enough dollar. Let's assume that the Bank of Ghana is operating like any of the forex bureaus around. Their rate is, say, 10.4. The forex bureaus decide to sell it at 11. And I say, oh, come to me, I can give it to you cheaper. It's virtually like a competition to ensure that we maintain some sanity in terms of the dollar, the need for dollar on the market. And we're seeing progress thanks to what is happening around that way. We're also making sure that these days contracts are no longer quoted in dollars. I have been doing projects all over the place. Even small projects we do, they quote in dollars. They ask you to quote in dollars for them, and you have to quote in dollars. I think a lot of that has shifted over the period, and we're seeing some progress along those lines. We're also doing infrastructure, and some of the infrastructure we're doing is for them to be able to become self-sustainable. When we did the airport project, it did not sit on the books of Ghana as a debt. Why? Because that project, the Terminal 2, has the capacity to pay for itself. So when you do projects, you borrow in dollars, you come and do projects in Ghana, and those projects do not in themselves bring in revenue, you will have a challenge on your books. Okay. University of Ghana Medical Center, when it was built, yes, that also, there was a way for University of Ghana Medical Hospital to recover or recoup its own investment and pay back the loan. Okay. So it's no longer a debt on the national books. Then you go to places like the MPS terminal, which is the Tema Port. It's also a project that is repayment of your debt and all that. The 6th lane we're going to do from Accra to Kumasi, we'll have tolls. I'm sure it will be tolled, and I know that for a fact. That is also because people will be able to recoup their investment. We are not engaged in this frivolous expenditure of the NPP, where we even had in a point in time where they tell us that they are going to do a Sky Train project, and that Sky Train project never materialized. Yet government of Ghana paid $2 million abroad, and nothing happened. So it's the leakages that they had with their government, the reckless spending, the insatiable desire for forex. You see almost all the cases that have been, put before the court recently, from the likes of the Signals Bureau, the likes of even the National Buffer Stock. You will hear dollars in some of those transactions, including Cecilia the past, famous case. You hear dollars all the time. Anytime there's a stealing or corruption or an assumption of somebody having embezzled state fund, it's all in dollars. So you ask yourself why? Because people had insatiable desire to export our dollars abroad, and we never had any sustainability in those environments. Government is also diversifying gold board very soon. You know that our jewelry company, the gold board jewelry company, is one of the ways to also sustain the CD. Why? Then we can produce our gold here, do our ornaments here, our rings, our necklaces and all that, take them abroad, and then you get fiscal hard currency, and then you're importing back in the country. In the past, it wasn't, PMMC was not doing some of these things as regularly as they should do. Today, we have an act that empowers the gold board jewelry to go into some of these interventions and make sure they are done and done properly. Some of the interventions, for instance, when we're doing Frontiers project, the COVID period, almost all the funds we took abroad in exchange for the COVID vaccines and all that were in dollars. And some of these were not value for money, because at the time the Sputnik vaccine was selling much lower with Russia. Is it Russia or Japan? And then when we're buying the open market in somewhere in Dubai, it was 2 times or 3 times the price. It is some of this indiscipline that brought our CD to dollar ratio that high. And I don't think that my government is in the business of continuing along those lines. We're also maintaining our buffer reserve or our international reserve properly. We don't want to go below a certain threshold.
Okay.
Government wants to maintain at least a minimum 8 months of import cover at all given point in time.
Okay.
So you don't get to a point where government dips its hand into the pockets of the reserve or the buffer, bring all the money down here. Then the following day, gold is slipped on the market. The following day, cocoa is slipped on the market. The other day, you have crude slipping on the market, and then we begin struggling. So indeed, government is committed to making sure that our forest is protected and all that. Pharmaceuticals is also one of the major areas where we spend a lot of forex.
Okay.
And one of the things government is doing to support the pharmaceutical industries with fiscal, infrastructure and funds in order that they don't have to heavily rely on always importing over-the-counter drugs, OTCs, and all that. Okay. I think that it's important that the MPP appreciate that there has been some level of sanity brought to the economy, some level of sanity brought to our expenditure patterns, some level of sanity brought to the governance style of Ghana as we have it under John Dramani Mahama. And the earlier they wake up to some of these things, the better.
Okay.
You see, when a country like President Akufo-Addo said that money doesn't like noise, and we have seen attempts where the MPP is busy trying to poo-poo people are taking breakfast this morning, vis-a-vis the economy.
They try to make nonsense.
Yeah, to make nonsense of all the achievements. Look, it serves nobody any good.
Okay.
If all you want to engage in is to become, what's the opposite of optimist?
Pessimist.
To become pessimistic about everything. It cannot all be wrong. If it's right, let's say it's right. Okay. If it's good, let's say it's good. If there's a way to offer alternative views, and I think that is what advanced democracies do, where they offer alternative views on governance and say, hey, listen, we know you are doing this. You can scale it up if you do that and that and that and that. Then we are refining the economic environment, the governance environment, the political environment of this country. Otherwise, it could just be this business about they are not doing well, we can do better. Even when you have the chance, you can't do it. You say you can do better, just for the political convenience that we want to achieve at the end of the day. So, yeah, the MPP, yes, we welcome your criticisms, but a lot is being done.
Can we move on? Or?
Oh, yeah, we can move on. But you see, all this that we're talking about are the package of the IMF.
Yes.
IMF package that we contracted as a country. And this government inherited. So they are unable to bypass that package. That is where the discipline is coming from. I agree. So you see why the government asked for 3 months extension of the IMF package? Yeah, so to be able to consolidate on this. I am talking with you on the terms where Ghanaians' expectations may reach a certain level that in government, even you may not want to spend, but you have got to spend in order to also satisfy the very people,
okay.
Ghanaians. For us, it's bread and butter issue.
All right.
Agreed. And when the time comes, and don't forget, 1 year in office, 2 years, getting to 3 years to the election year, where the pressure keeps on piling. If we have gone out of IMF package,
okay.
and we're still seeing this kind of discipline,
okay.
then we can confidently say that we are on the right path and we are moving on. That's all that we need to know.
All right.
When the headmaster is on your neck with a cane, you are disciplined.
You behave.
You behave. Let him be out of there, and then we will see. So the fiscal discipline we are experiencing is part of the IMF negotiations that was orchestrated and contracted by the previous government, with Ghana fully committed to adhere to that. And you inherited, and you are adhering to, and they are bearing results, which is good for all of us. But what I'm talking about is the sustainability of, say, when IMF is not there.
Okay. Let me read Master Planner Junior's message he sent to us. Now, Master Planner Junior is a policy analyst from Kintampo. He says, this 1 year of President Mahama is highly marked with youth unemployment. The 24 hours economy was your major campaign message. You promised the youth 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. It is sad for the first time in the history of Ghana, teacher trainees have not been posted in 2025. Those who were posted under the previous government are inherited by this government, have worked for close to a year but are paid only 2 months' salary. Imagine a government cannot pay just 1 shift. How much more 3 shifts? The youth will be very sad and angry listening to my uncle Wanda Madilo this morning. Anyway, Dr. Bamia is number 3 on the ballot paper. 22 days to go. Master Planner Junior Policy Analyst in Kintampo. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says that 1 year of President Mahama in office, so far so excellent. My brother, the coming back of President Mahama to office is a big blessing to this nation. We must be grateful to Allah Almighty. It is time we appreciated the good things that is happening in this country, and Allah Almighty will bless us with more. I'm particularly happy because promises that were made to be delivered in 120 days have all been delivered. Taxes like omission tax, e-levy, COVID levy, betting tax have all been abolished, and all these monies go directly into the pockets of Ghanaians. And for this alone, we're grateful to President Mahama. The only problem I have is that government should put in more efforts in the fight against galamsey. A lot has been achieved, but more needs to be done. Galamsey should not be treated with kid gloves because it is an act of terrorism against the state. Mystic Wonder Avuko, inside in Sawam Medwaji says, good morning to you, Mr. Moore and your panelists. It is inarguably clear that President Mahama has performed creditably well in his first year. The economic indicators are reflecting in the lives of Ghanaians. The NPP is gradually becoming a liability, suffering from leadership crisis, and the center cannot hold. Never again to this nepotistic nation wreckers. My regards to Chairman Dr. Mark Oliver. Carlos from Odododio says, these NPP people are quite amusing. What exactly is the NPP representative saying? Is he telling us to vote for the NPP or simply to go and relax somewhere? All the ideas he's now putting forward were ideas he could have implemented when he was in government just a few months ago. Instead of them focusing on managing the economy, their country's economic situation, they are busy chewing ballot papers in parliament. That seems to be what they know how to do best. Carlos from Odododio, and I say, God bless you. Happy New Year to you, my brother. Happy New Year to you. Carlos, good to hear from you. Prince Henry Ofori-Atta says, good morning, Chief. Prince, it was good to see you at yesterday's the funeral event of Mr. Afechi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Post. Prince, it was good to see you. It's been a long time. This one says that Dr. Kokofu is being mischievous and propagandist with the topic today. Same Dr. Kokofu and his lies claim that the positive that the NPP enjoyed in 2017 and 2018 without any good applause to the NDC. So what is he talking about now? What is he talking about today? No, he actually said, and to be fair to him, that when the NDC kept saying that they had laid a foundation for what the NPP was touting as good management of the economy, he disagreed in part with his party because he also agreed that some of the things or the successes that had been chalked by the NPP in 2017, as far as the economy is concerned, should also be credited to the NDC. That's what he said, he argued at the time. And so he's been consistent that, yes, some of the things that are being seen today, some of the positives in terms of the management of the economy should also be credited to the NPP. So he's just telling us he's been consistent as a matter of principle. So, Prince, you may not be entirely right with your criticism of Dr. Kokofu. You've not been fair to him. But he says the worst enemy of Ghana is the old UP and now MPP. Never again to nation wreckers, MPP. Proverbs 29:2. Prince. Now, this one here from, Richmond. Richmond Roxing is the PRO of the Energy Ministry. It was also good to see you yesterday. Yes. He's a very, very strong guy. Very hardworking. You should ask him. He should give business. Yes. But he doesn't give business. He only speaks for the people.
Yeah, he should speak for me.
He should speak for you. Richmond, it was Roxton, right? Yeah. Roxton, good to see you. How are you? I hope you're doing very well. I mean, he's one guy I really admire.
Yeah, very calm.
He doesn't sleep. All he's thinking about is work. He'll call, at times he'll call you at door and say, Charlie, we have a problem. What do we do? You know, his his just attitude towards work is unbelievable. It's just incredible. Richmond, please keep it up. Keep it up. You're a fantastic gentleman, very hardworking, dedicated, and committed to your work. Please do keep it up. And I'm sure that your boss, at the right time, would reward you handsomely for a good job done. Speaking of which, I want to say a very good morning to John Jinapo. It's been a while. I mean, we haven't interviewed him in a while. But anyway, so let's now look at Reverend Jones Latte, who is he's a lawyer actually, and also a minister of the word. And also a journalist. Yes, I've known him for many years, back in the day when I was at City FM. But he sent us a message, and his message is on Ken Ofori-Atta, and that dovetails into our next topic. Unfortunately, we have just 10 minutes. I don't know whether my cherished guests can deal with this Ken Ofori-Atta thing as briefly as you can.
Yeah.
Because we're just 10 minutes, otherwise they'll take us off. But the story is as simple as that. So Ghana's former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, who is wanted at home on corruption allegations, has been detained in the U.S. over issues related to his immigration status, his lawyers say. Now, Ghana has previously requested Ofori-Atta's extradition, but his lawyers are challenging this, saying that allegations against him are politically motivated. Now, Ofori-Atta left Ghana last year for medical reasons, his legal team said. Now, on Wednesday, confirming his detention in the U.S., we're being told they expect the matter to be resolved expeditiously. In a statement, Ofori-Atta's lawyer said their client was law-abiding and was in the process of applying to change his immigration status, allowing him to stay in the U.S. past the period of validity of his visa. Now, the BBC, so this I'm reading from the BBC's website. The BBC has contacted IC for comment, and that's the Immigration Customs, something. Now, Ofori-Atta faces dozens of charges relating to his time in office under the previous administration. And last February, prosecutors in Ghana declared that the former minister a fugitive, alleging that he was trying to evade investigators. Now, let me read to you the related, story to this. Now, Frank Davis, who is the chairman of the NPP's Legal and Constitutional Committee, and also counsel for Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, this is what he's saying. Now, it says that the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has confirmed that his client has applied for an extension of his stay in the United States, citing ongoing medical treatment and recovery. Now, he says that Mr. Ofori-Atta traveled to the U.S. for a medical procedure which has since been completed, but remains under medical supervision as part of his recuperation. According to him, the former minister is in constant consultation with his medical team, whom he advised that he remains either in the U.S. for further treatment or monitor, comes back to Ghana. Now, Ken Ofori-Atta left here in Ghana, and then he gave notice that he was going for a medical procedure that had been done. And if we all know what he is suffering from, it is not easy. After that, he has to go through a period of recuperation, and that is exactly what he's doing. He's in constant consultation with his medical team, and if they advise that the stage at which they are, it is imperative for him to continue to remain in the States so that they can attend to him. What exactly is wrong with that? He discloses that Mr. Ofori-Atta's visa is due to expire on February 14, making it necessary for him to apply for an extension. Now, if you visit a country, and I'm quoting him, for some reason, and are unable to leave when you are supposed to, you apply to extend your stay. What is strange about that? Yes, he has applied for an extension, and that the petition is with the ICE. They will determine it, and in the fullness of time, we will all know whether the petition has merit or not. Now, he's also described the application as a routine immigration process and rejected claims suggesting any wrongdoing. This is a normal practice in every jurisdiction. If someone is unable to leave a country when their visa expires due to unforeseen circumstances, they apply for an extension. He therefore urged the public to avoid speculation, stressing that the process is lawful and ongoing. So, please, 3 minutes each, because our time is almost up. 2 minutes is actually 2 minutes. Briefly. I mean, do you find anything worrying, disturbing about this story? Let me start with Doc.
Yep.
Do you find anything disturbing about this, or is much ado about nothing?
Well, not at all. The lawyer has explained. It's quite, you have got to understand. What I'm worried about is the court of public opinion where traces are put here and there. We should wait and see what happens.
Okay. All right.
No, it's a very interesting twist. I wanted you to read the paragraph where he said he may have been advised, and that's supposed to be the counsel.
Okay, yes.
So his position should be...
Oh, okay, that part.
Yes, I think the third paragraph or so.
Okay, let me look at that.
Well, while you look out for that,
yes.
No, I think that
is it this is a normal practice in every jurisdiction?
He may have been advised.
Is unable, if someone is unable to leave a country when their visa expires, blah, 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 they may apply for extension. Therefore, as the public, okay. Yeah, please go ahead. I want to find it.
Yeah, so he said he may have been advised by his
lawyers.
His medical team to stay in the U.S. longer or whatever. So. Well, there's a very interesting twist in all this matter. Government hasn't spoken officially to this issue yet. The special...
So if they advise at this stage, if they advise that the stage at which they are in, it is imperative for him to continue to remain in the state so they can attend to him. What exactly is wrong with that?
No, there's one more.
There's
that
another
says
one.
he may have been advised go up like the third
who may advise that he remains in the US for further treatment for monitoring?
You see, that's a lawyer talking.
Okay.
I know he wants to try to be coy about certain things in his approach, but you see almost every paragraph, if may, coming up, and you're talking to us for a fact. You are the counsel, excuse me, and you are the one to tell us what is exactly happening. And you are also building on conjecture and trying to impute things and all that. I don't think this statement serves anybody any good by reading it. It's all that we know.
Okay.
If that's all that the council knows, then it's of no use. We heard about all this
should the government intervene? Should the government intervene? Take advantage of this and get
we don't have that energy for that. What I do know is that you see, the wheels of justice grind slowly.
Okay.
We are all told. This is the second time he's applying for a stay in the U.S. This is the man who told us that, and if you have children and there is distress, will you leave your children and all that, and that you should be allowed to stay and all that, and that he's not taking salary and all that. We do appreciate his contributions to this country. I'm one of the people who appreciate people who have gone through stuff for this country. Indeed, it was not his private business. He was running the country, and then some of these things have happened. I thought that he has done himself a lot of disservice by the inconsistencies with which they approach this matter. Somewhere last year, we were told that he was going to come at a certain time. They wrote to the OSP. OSP wrote back. They gave a new date. They couldn't come. They gave a new date. And now it is a fight not to come back to Ghana. I think that is a very concerning situation for all of us to look at the fact. Okay. So, Ofori-Atta, yes, whatever it is, Ghana is his base. We've had even his wife tell us that Ghana is his country. He's not running out from Ghana. He will come and all that. Then I heard one, quote-unquote idiot, who was insulting the president over and over and going on and on. Ofori-Atta is a man of himself. He's a man of metal. He has money. He will come back to this country if he wants to come back. Your mama and his thieves and he went on, and this is supposed to be Ken's junior brother or cousin or whatever of the sort. I mean, he did it on live TV. I think these are the things not helping his cause. Nobody has arrested Ofori-Atta in Ghana. He was only invited to give account of what he knows or has done during the period. In fact, at the time he was even being invited, the case was not even in court. It is recently that I'm sure the case has gone to court, and then we are hearing all this matter. Nobody is after him. And the U.S. law system is not going to be that gullible for you to walk in and say, we are being persecuted for political reasons, and then they will say, okay, stay for life. No, those are not the conditions for which people are given asylum and all that. Okay. If you want asylum, you need more concrete reasons to give, in that respect. Number two, we are being told that he was sick. Yes, I agree. And we are all infallible. Is it fallible or infallible?
We are fallible. We are fallible.
We are all fallible. I mean, we are all prone to all kinds of things. Save the grace of God, and we are okay today. So you are telling me that Ken could not come to Ghana to answer questions. But in the U.S., when he was invited, even though that is not even a criminal offense, it's more of their immigration issues.
So you don't trust Ken?
We saw some video of him in handcuff. I pray that is not the case.
No, I think
we saw videos. We also saw videos of where he was going to sleep in Virginia, and where some of the people who even slept in those environments.
All right.
So for a person who is sick in the U.S. government find it fit, no longer respects his value as his right.
But this is America. Please, this is America.
No, the laws are different.
This is America. They don't take just any excuses.
So you understand.
Yes.
So
anyway,
you see,
John Dramani Mahama became president. What would you tell that person?
No, first and foremost, let me use this opportunity to greet the managers of our economy, especially the president himself, the vice president, and all ministers of state and appointees for bringing us this far, be it God's guidance. I don't think there is any Ghanaian, both in the MPP or in the NDC, that can dispute the resounding, call it victory that we've chalked over the last 1 year as a country. And I'm not talking NDC, I'm talking Ghana as a country, the pedestal on which we have stood, for some time now. And if you look at sector by sector, you look at leadership according to governance, you look at the peace and security we are beginning to enjoy, you look at economic indicators, you look at human development, you look at education, health, roads and all that, you will see that there's been a conscious effort by the president and his men to touch all facets of our life. Just yesterday on a project site we were working, one of the engineers came to me and said, Mr. Madilo, I'm not a politician, but I want to congratulate you. And I said, what? He said, no, he's getting calls all over the place that, the country is becoming like a construction zone, as the way the president had intimated it earlier. And that we are doing very well, we should keep it up. And I was very proud to hear that from him, because this is a man who won't do politics for any reason, but took time to appreciate what was happening. And so we're very excited to have come this far. Let it also be on record that on the side of the economy, we know what kind of economy we have inherited from the MPP at the time when we took over. About $1.7 billion was owed to IPPs alone. What is IPP? Independent Power Producers across the country. I'm talking about the Sonon Asogli, the Car Power, the Mary, and all the others that came on board, at the time. And so government was in debt, heavily. You are also looking at a debt situation of about 68 billion for ECG alone, and all the infractions of procurement breaches and loans that they have, not loans, but contracts that they've given out beyond what the threshold was. And we were crippling with debt, as it were. Is the reason today people will call for a private participation within the space of revenue collection, or what do they call it? When you pay your electricity bill or whatever. And so those are the remedies within which people will call for some of those. You remember that in the first budget we had to take very stringent steps to recover some of those. That's how come the 1 Ghana cedis later was introduced, just to be able to offset some of these debts. Because electricity has become the brain behind every economy's growth. Even today, people are talking about electric cars. It relies heavily on this same ECG. And so whatever you do, at the end of the day, you will need power to power your industries and people's livelihoods and all that. We now even know that development-wise, the quality of energy you have also has an impact on your life expectancy and your health dynamics and your education and all that. And so we realized that that was a very major matter to be dealt with. It's also one of the reasons why the IMF was very much on our case. When the introduction of PDS and all the others that we don't want to remember, that's the past, very horrible to Ghanaians. All these debt cuts, debt restructuring, haircuts, you call them, pensioners' money being touched and all that, was all because Ghana did not have the comfort or the reserve, required to sustain our economic activity as a country. And so there have been very difficult, very much serious difficulty. You also recall that even our own revered Bank of Ghana went into debt. I mean, in serious, when I say debt, I mean, they had liquidity issues based on, I don't even know the best word to use, but they had challenges with their debt structure because they went into negative. And so that was also a worrying situation for all of us as a country. As by the time we were taking over, some 53 billion was in negative. And that also, the Bank of Ghana has to ask the government to try and...
I'm sure if you want to walk us through this, we may take the whole day, because it's an endless list of what you inherited.
Yeah, so the difficulty is that we have been able to turn the corner, as you will say.
Okay.
Government has instituted some stringent measures going forward so that we can have some relief.
Right.
As we speak, the CD has appreciated by some 32%. This has not happened before in the last 3 decades.
40% actually. 40% appreciation.
Okay, 40%. Yes. I saw 32 point something,
right.
On average. And so we are making some good strides. Okay. You remember inflation was somewhere in 54. In 2022, they're about 54%. Even at that time, we had a professor who claimed that it was more than 54 and all that. But things are beginning to take shape. You also look at our reserve situation before the MPP took over in 2017. Our reserve situation, the national reserve was about $6.9 billion. Then by the time they were leaving office, they left $8.6 billion or so dollars. Okay. Today is in excess of about $13 billion under 1 year. We are talking about some 5 billion plus added in 1 year, thanks to the gold for reserve, projects, thanks to the effective management of the Bank of Ghana, thanks to Cocoa Board and all the others that are doing very well in that sector. Health has also, you remember, we have uncapped the NHIS, and so debt accumulation at the NHIA or NHIS dealings have also been significantly impacted by...
So, according to Bloomberg data cited by the financial analyst, Dr. Theo Echampo, the CD reported 40.7% appreciation against the US dollar.
Yeah, so
by
that's
Bloomberg.
That's even higher. And then you remember we've also uncapped Get Fund. Today Get Fund is busy doing projects across the country because their entitlement as a fund has been given to them fully. The District Assembly's Common Fund, which has become the central growth pole around which this country should develop, has also been uncapped. And so district assemblies are receiving their quarterly, what do you call it? Quarterly
disbursements
on time. And so debts are being paid. I did a job for, and I'm going to put this out, I don't have any shame about it, for Shai Osudoku in 2020. Until this month, when I called the new district assembly, the district chief executive, I have not been paid. 2020 till today, because why? Every time we go there, we have not received our quarterly, reimbursement. We have not been given, and then they were in debt, and I wasn't the only one, so I stopped going there and all that. So indeed, you see some level of activity even at the local level, because that is the engine of the whole growth we talk about in this country. If the district assemblies were working very well and everybody is up to their task, and in fact they even have a mandate to be able to establish some private partnership to be able to do business, and you see that a lot of the district assemblies are in debt because there's no revenue generation apart from collecting road tolls, from those market women and market tolls and all that. Some of them don't have any means of generating revenue, and that's one of the reasons why we have so much poverty at the grassroots and all that. You remember we have also abolished the e-levy, the Laconian e-levy. We have also abolished the COVID, levy and all that. And that is putting a lot of money in the pockets of Ghanaians. What is major to me, it's the Big Push program. The Big Push program is a transformational program. I think the government is doing so far so well on that matter. Some 13 billion has already been paid to road contractors for ongoing road construction, and then the new ones. The Kumasi Express Highway is also one that is receiving a facelift, and the new project to have a 6-lane down, that is also on course. You look at projects like the Eastern Corridor Road are also receiving some good support. You look at from Adenta all the way to Pong, through to Somanya to Pong are also receiving some good facelifts, and all over the place. Then you look at the Afram Plains opening up to the regional capitals so that we can have food stuff coming from those areas are also on course. And I am particularly happy that some of these things are happening. They are happening as quickly as they are. Listen, inflation is gone below 6%. For me, it's one of the biggest.
It's 5.4 now.
Yeah, 5.4%. You know what the prediction of the IMF was? 11.
Yeah.
The IMF was predicting that by the end of 2025, we're going to hit somewhere 11 or a little bit below that into single digits. But today, we're already at 5.4. If we can sustain some of these strides we're making as a country, for me, it should be the engine of growth around the table. And I am also excited that in all these achievements, the president has remained very humble and very, very disciplined about public expenditure and what we do not call and what we call. And that is the essence of leadership. Your leadership must affect the people you claim to lead. It must have a positive impact on them, including your own lifestyle. And I've seen, some criticisms about we buying an aircraft and all that. And this is a past government that was already itching to do some of those things. And to recall vividly again, the memory of the 6 people who were lost in the aircraft,
the crash.
The crash be remembered and be to live for long. These are decent men who went about their duty for their country but in the process we lost them, albeit the ravaging effect of Galamsey and all that. And if you observe also, there's a lot of work been done on this whole Galamsey, business in Ghana, and we're achieving some good results. At least the tension is down now. I also know that many arrests have been made, many have been prosecuted. Those who were deported have been deported, and there's some sanity beginning to return. What I do want to expect is that going forward, we would find alternative livelihoods for the many young men that have been kicked out of the bush. We don't want the security challenge on our hand, and so I've seen that that body, National Board for Small Scale Industries, is now GEA. They are doing a lot of things in that respect. I also expect the National Youth Authority, the YEA, the venture capital, all the other bodies, allied financial, youth-related support institutions to begin to fall into some of these areas. 9 months has done a good job, but we need to sustain some of this. And one of the ways to sustain it is to create alternative livelihoods where the people can find themselves useful within the economic space we're experiencing right now. Farming is still very rife. This year we experienced a food glut. It means that there's so much food, more than we can consume. We should find ways. Are we exporting them? Is the National Buffer Stock Company having the capacity to store all of this for future consumption and all that? We need that. I've also seen some good progress on irrigation. Unlike in the past where we are told there's irrigation here, one village, one dam, and we don't know where the outcome of that is. Today we're beginning to see some major interventions on irrigation. I've also heard and I've seen the tree crop something.
You mean, Doc, what's the name?
Tree crop development.
Yeah, the tree crop
development. Is it commission or something?
Tree crop development.
Yes.
Where Dr. Andy.
Yes, Andy Okra.
Yeah, I've seen them also launch a project in about 4 crops. They talk about coconut. They talk about mango. They talked about cashew, and one more. There are 4 of them. That government is taking steps.
So Tree Crop Development Authority.
Tree Crop Development. I pass in front of that place every day. It's in this Legon around where you have the water, that man-made lake for the airport.
Yes.
So I pass there almost every day, and I still haven't kept the name. So it's important that we appreciate some of this. We don't need to be NDC to appreciate some of these interventions. We don't need to praise the government to appreciate some of these things. We feel it, we see it, we live it, and the least we can do is to support it. And that's why at this point I like to call on people who have excess money in their banks to start venturing into some business opportunities so that we can employ the teeming young people that we see around the place. I do some locum in UPSA as a lecturer. And I see the numbers of young people who would finish university and no jobs. All because we don't have enough jobs. Even the ones that are here, the ones from other countries, I don't mention any country here, they pay our people's minimum, nothing, for 0 to nothing. And that is creating a lot of security situations in our country, because when people don't find what they want economically, the next thing is to look for crime. To have a crime motive that will make them find some of these opportunities. So indeed, government is doing very well. Let's applaud the government for what they are doing. Let's pray with them. Let's stand with them. It is Ghana first, and at all times Ghana first.
So we've dug out what the vision of the Tree Crop Development Authority is. Brighton, we can put it back on. Yes. So the vision of the Tree Crop Development Authority is to produce highly developed, diversified, value-added and globally competitive and sustainable tree crop sector in Ghana. So yes, fantastic stuff. Anyway, so Doc, Doc has about 5 PhDs. No, actually, masters. Sorry.
Doc, 5.
Yes, somebody has 5 or 5 masters.
I know him as a lawyer.
In fact, he's working on the 6th one. I know him as a lawyer
with expertise in environmental.
Yes. He's very passionate about environment.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. to my best of knowledge, without any biases. PENDREAM TV.